All right, we got them done. We're gonna try one with our Momoan sauce, which is here. Put that on that one, and we'll try this one crudo over here without any sauce. See how it goes. They're super smoky. I've already tasted a little bit. But this one, I'm gonna bite into it. Oh man, that came right off the bone. They're like absolute perfection. Look at that. Not a piece of anything stuck to the bone. Goddamn. You're gonna need to watch this video to learn how to make these. You're gonna need to watch this. All right, let's talk about the smoker. And I'm sorry I'm not talking very loud. It is very early in the morning here. As you can see, the sun is just rising here in Costa Rica over our home. And it's a beautiful morning right now. But I'd like to not wake up my neighbors over there. I probably already have though. But as you can see, it's absolutely another beautiful day in Costa Rica. Glad to be here. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So let's take a look at this smoker I got and talk about where I got it from. So it says American Gourmet. I have my doubts. This is our firebox. Goes in there. You can't really see much. It's early, but as you can see, I'm going to take this grate out. I'm going to build my fire under there. I'm going to keep a little bit of flame in here. Let's see if we can get in there and maybe get some light on this. And as you can see, there is very little control here for where my heat coming from my firebox going into my smoker is going to be. There's no cover there, so I can't make that any smaller. So controlling the heat on this is going to be a challenge, but we'll figure it out. And the idea of this smoke is to show people that you don't need a $1,000 smoker. I think our control is going to come through here. I think this is going to be the only way we have to control our heat and our airflow. And then obviously up here we can pop this and do this to control our smoke and our heat. And we'll see if this thermometer works. But my wife won this at our local grocery store. We entered a sweepstakes. We don't even remember what sweepstakes it was. But we go in one day and they say to us, "Oh, you guys won the grill." I've used it to grill food, like just putting heat directly in there, but I've never used it as a smoker. So we're gonna see if these ribs turn out good today. I am going to do a video smoking a brisket on this thing, but it's made out of nothing. So I would not recommend using one of these in a cold temperature. You're gonna have a hard time maintaining your heat and a real tough time just keeping the cook going. But we're going to see how it goes, and obviously it's nice and warm here in Costa Rica, so we don't have to worry about that at all. The idea of this is to show people that you can smoke on anything. You don't need to go out and buy a Cadillac of smokers. Every time I watch a video of a guy smoking meat or a lady smoking meat, they're on smokers that cost more than my car. And I don't think the average person can go out and spend several $1,000s on the next newest beautiful smoker, whether it be an electronic pellet smoker that does all the work for you, or a stick burner like this, but fully insulated, absolutely holds its heat all day, doesn't require you to monitor it every 15 minutes. This is going to require us, it's only going to be a 5-6 hour cook, but this is going to require us to check it all day long, to make sure that our smoke is rolling, to make sure that our heat is holding, to make sure that everything. So this is going to be a skill cook, not an equipment cook. So let's see if we have the skills. I don't know, but we'll find out. And if I can do it, you can do it. So we're going to do it together, and I hope that you guys try this at home. You could probably get one of these cheap Chinese. I know it says American Gourmet, but I guarantee you this thing was slapped together in China. You can get one of these probably at your local Home Depot for, I don't know, $100, $200. And you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on a fancy smoker. But we don't know. I might totally screw this up, so you may actually have to spend a few $1,000s on a smoker. Let's find out together, all right? Let's build a fire. And as we can see, the sun has pretty much made itself up today. And we're out here in the jungle. I don't see any monkeys this morning. That's unfortunate. Sometimes they're over there playing in the trees. But it doesn't look like we're going to catch any monkeys this morning. Let's see how this goes. Wood's relatively dry. This coal should be pretty good to get us some fire going. Yeah, let's see. No, it's too big a piece of wood. And as you can see, that wood is pretty much on fire now, and we're good to go. We're going to just patiently let it all catch fire. Let that little piece of carbon wood catch fire. Probably pull that out and put it on top once this wood catches fire. Right now it's just giving oxygen underneath. And once that wood's burning, we're going to add more wood to it, and we'll get this fire going. Getting a fire started is an exercise in patience that I just don't have. If I had some greasy paper or something, this would have been a lot faster, but as you can see, the wood has started to catch fire, and at this point, you just got to chill. That's why I start at 5 a.m., so I can get these coals going, get my fire exactly the temperature I want before I even think about seasoning or putting my meat on the smoker. I first want to get it to the temperature that I like. So we're out here, we're just going to wait for that slow burn itself. I may have to add a little more kindling to that to get it to actually light on fire. We'll see how it turns out. But the key is patience. The fire will start at its own pace. Okay, that took a second, but we got a legit fire going. As you can see, I put a little bit more fuel on it. I added one more piece of paper underneath all of it. And we're definitely on fire now. I'll move things around, get that coal to the center. And I might put 1 or 2 more coals in there just to maintain some heat. We're going to see. I've got some really good wood. Let's take a look at the wood I have right now. I've got it over here. This is Nante wood. It's a fruit tree that grows here. It's a yellow fruit. I'm going to put up some information about it here on the screen in a second. But it's a really hard wood. It smokes really well. It's really good for smoking. And it burns. It takes a long time to burn. So it holds its heat for a long time. It's a really nice wood to use, and it's got a nice natural sweetness to it. Really like it. This is a quick Google of it. You can see what it is. You can see what a picture of it is and where it comes from and what its name is. It's a really nice wood that we use to smoke here, along with coffee wood. This is one of the better woods for smoking. So as you can see here, it's, you know, a fruit tree, a yellow fruit tree. If you're interested, you can Google it and learn more about it. It's kind of a great moment to just describe how the smoker works, because you can see it with flame instead of smoke. It's a little more cool to look at. But the way the smoker works is the smoke comes out of this spot here, and as you can see, the flames are moving in that way. By the way, this is designed. This is below the actual container. Don't worry about that fire. It's fine. So the smoke and the heat want to rise and go out of the chimney. That's where they want to go. Once I close this, all of this is going to want to go into here and then up out the chimney. But as you can see right now, the fire naturally is pushing into that hole. And if we open the chimney, we might even get a little bit more fire out of there. And you can see that's the natural flow of air in the smoker and how it all works. And then the smoke goes around in here, and then it whoop, out the chimney it goes. Just a nice little demonstration on how smokers work and how they function. Now we're going to make our rub for the ribs. They're spare ribs. We're going to put a bunch of salt on there. I make enough rub here probably for about 3 racks of ribs. I'm only making 1 rack of ribs, so I'm going to save the rest of this. Maybe 2 racks. So I put a bunch of salt in there. I'm going to put a little bit of sugar in there. I like the sugar because I feel like it binds your entire crust, creates sort of a shell on there. If it doesn't have a little bit of sugar, it won't. I don't think you get as nice of a crust, but it doesn't need a lot. You don't want to burn it, so don't put too much sugar in there. You can use brown sugar too. I love paprika, so I'm going to use a lot of this paprika, probably 3-4 tablespoons of paprika. And as you can see, I loaded up on there. And I'm going to put a little bit more. Almost the whole bag. And then I've got cinnamon and cumin here. I'm going to put just a little bit of each of those. You could put allspice in there. You could put, you could really put whatever you want in there. You don't have to do what I'm doing. I also put onion powder and garlic powder in here when I'm not on camera. Unfortunately, I didn't get a shot of that. But I'm gonna put a bunch of pepper in here. I put a little bit of the cinnamon, a little bit of the cumin. I'm very cautious with cumin because it can upset stomachs. So I'm gonna put a bunch of pepper in there, a bunch of fresh pepper. You can use pre-ground pepper. If you use pre-ground pepper, put a tablespoon or two into this mix. If you're keeping up with the recipe that I'm making here. And then we're gonna go with cayenne. Now don't worry, these ribs are not spicy at all. The cayenne just adds kind of a peppery flavor. It's not. I'm gonna add quite a bit, at least a tablespoon. Don't be afraid. It will not make the ribs spicy. This is on the rub. They just aren't spicy. But it does work with the paprika and the cayenne work together to give it you can taste a nice chili flavor, but you won't be burning your mouth on this. So at this point, you want to mix it up. But remember, once you stick your hands in there, don't touch anything sensitive. That means your face. Don't walk off to go to the bathroom. Wash your hands before you touch any part of your body. All right, so now we got the rib out. It's a spare rib. It's going to be pretty clean. I'm going to give it a little smell test because this is imported. So it was imported frozen. And if something happens in transit, it defrosts, goes bad, they refreeze it. I get it. I'm not going to know till right now. So luckily it was very nice. It smelled like nothing, like pork, but fresh pork. No stink at all. Right now we're going to take this cartilage bone piece off that they throw in for us. It's worthless. All it does is make it hard for you to cut up your ribs. It's all bone and cartilage. Your knife will cut through it pretty easily. It's up there in the corner. You feel around for it. It's a long bar of bone. The rest of the top of this is really a nice shape, so we're going to flip it over and just clean up the bottom just a little bit. There's a fat flap there that doesn't need to exist. There's a little bit of gristle that doesn't need to exist. But there's no film, there's no silver skin on this. There's nothing that needs to go away. This is fine. All of this is going to soften up and be delicious in the cook. So all of that fat's going to render. All of that's going to be really nice. Just get rid of a little bit of that extra gristle and we're good. And we have a really nice piece of rib. So what we're going to do is we're going to season. A lot of barbecue chefs will use a shaker at this point. Oh, and remember, no sensitive parts once you've touched this with your hands. A lot of barbecue chefs will use a shaker at this point. I don't. I like to. I'm a line cook. That's where I started. That's the chef that I am. So I like to feel the seasoning. I like to feel the salt, the sugar, the paprika, all of it in my fingers, so I know that I'm spreading all of it instead of shaking a shaker every 5 seconds to get it to mix up. This is how I do it. That's the technique. It's technique. Everybody has a different way of doing things. I'm not knocking what barbecue chefs do. I'm just saying I do it a little different. Do not rub it in. Don't push it. Don't press it. Don't do anything. Get a nice even coat and then flip it over to the nice side. This is our top side. This is going to be our cook side up. Pretty much the entire cook. This is going to be facing up because at no point did we get hot enough to burn the bones, and it doesn't need to be flipped. So as you can see, I'm putting a nice even season all along the sides. I'm not pressing it in. I'm not touching the meat. I'm just trying to get all of the empty spots. Anywhere where I see meat or anything sitting through, I'm trying to cover. Remember, this is a very salty rub, so don't overdo it. You could dial back the salt if you wanted to, but these did not come out salty. So feel free to go at it. And here you go. We're going to drop it on the smoker. I've got the smoker to about 250, 300, which is where we ran most of this cook. It went up and down, but I kept it between 250 and 300 most of the cook. And I'm just going to drop it right on there. I'm going to keep it to the right, as far away from the... Let me see, try to slide it on without losing any of your seasoning. Not too hard in a tiny little smoker like that. Really just drop it on there. And you close it up and you're good. We're about an hour and a half into this cook, and I haven't touched the top part yet. The only thing I've worked on, the only thing I've really fought with is the firebox, which is normal. You shouldn't be opening the top of your your smoker very often. You don't want to let the smoke out. You don't want to let the heat out. It's unnecessary. We're running at a pretty good temperature. We've got the wood there in the corner. I've got my baffle pretty much completely closed. I spent the entire cook fighting this firebox, but it came out so good. I'm not even worried about it. But it definitely took a while to maintain the heat. And this is our first look at it. It's the first time I'm opening this since I put the meat on there. And I'm loving it. It's looking so good. It's getting that nice color. It's not overcooking. It's not burning anywhere. None of the edges are getting overcolored. The seasoning is starting to crust up. It's really coming together nicely. Let's make some barbecue sauce. So unfortunately, the whole time I was making this sauce, I felt like it was missing something, missing an ingredient, and an ingredient that I never figured out until it was too late and the ribs were eaten. I bought a bottle of root beer to put a cup of root beer into this, and I completely forgot. So if you add a cup of root beer or a cup of Dr. Pepper to this, it will really be very good. So you want to get a pretty sweet ketchup, something with a lot of corn syrup so you don't have to get corn syrup and put it in there. Garlic and onion powder, which are also in the rub. Sriracha, a couple squirts of that, nothing serious. Worcestershire sauce, a couple shots of that. Depending on how much you like, you can mix this up. And then your cider vinegar. Your cider vinegar is going to give you your tang, your acid. So I added more later, but for now that's enough. And then we're going to put this caramel brown sugar, which is kind of a molassesy brown sugar in there. If you just have brown sugar, put some brown sugar and a little shot of molasses in there and you'll be good to go. Again, if you remember to put the soda in there, it'll be so much better than the way I made it. But this was still very good, so I'm not complaining. So these are mamones, and they're a little complicated. The seed pops out, but it leaves the skin behind, and that skin is really difficult to deal with. So what I do is I just cut them into quarters, take a smaller knife, run that knife along the seed, and then you have a clean piece of fruit ready to go into your barbecue sauce. So I'm going to do that right now, get a nice pile of them and throw that in there. Then we're going to take the whole thing, throw it on the smoker and let it cook with the ribs. We've hit the 2.5 hour mark here, and this is looking fantastic. I'm going to spin it around because one end is getting a little more cooked than the other, and now I'm going to throw my sauce on here too to cook and smoke, just get a little smoky flavor. But we're going to just flip ends around. But as you can see, the bottom isn't burning, the edges aren't burning, nothing is going wrong with this cook. Just this tiny, tiny little bit of meat there is getting a little blackened, so that's why we're flipping it. But so far, this cook is going exactly the way we want it to go. We're going to leave the barbecue sauce in there. We're going to let that cook for a while and smoke, and we're going to let this go until we wrap. Shortly after about 2.5 hours, about 2 hours and 45 minutes, we hit the perfect spot. I put a little bit of sauce on there at about the 2.5 hour mark, let it go for about a half an hour. Just to caramelize the sauce up a little bit on there while it was cooking. The sauce didn't really have a lot of flavor yet. It's still cooking. But I did it just to put a little bit of stickiness to the ribs. And now we're going to wrap them in foil. And I have very thin foil, so it normally wouldn't look this ugly, but because I had to triple wrap it, it's going to look a little brutal. But basically, you wrap it real nice and tight in your foil, and it's going to go back on for probably another 2.5 hours. I think it took us another about 2.5 hours to get this done. And we're just going to throw it right on there. You can see our barbecue sauce is rolling nicely over there. The smoker's going 250 to 300, sitting in that area most of the day. And it's just going to go there for another 2 hours, 2.5 hours. All right, it's Christmas time. We get to unwrap. Let's see how it came out. You know, we've been working on this for hours. You never know how it's going to turn out until this moment when you finally unwrap it and all of that juice comes out. Oh my God. I mean, they're just absolutely spectacular. These ribs couldn't have come out any better. I'm really, really happy with how this cook went. I did not expect it to go this smoothly. I battled with the temperature a lot, but in the end, these ribs really, really came out good. And as you can see here on the board, I'm going to pour a little bit of that liquid over the top. And we're going to cut into them and take a look inside and see how they are. We can see right here, cut right into it. It's still got a little bit of bite to the bone, but it's going to fall right off the bone. But it's not mush. We're not looking at pulled pork, but it's still you can pull those bones right out of there and there won't be any meat on them. Look at this bone. I just rip it right out and it's clean. Clean as a whistle. That means you're going to bite the meat. It's going to melt in your mouth and it's going to pull away from the bone perfectly. These are fantastic. I'm going to bite into it. Oh man, that came right off the bone. They're like absolute perfection. Look at that. Not a piece of anything stuck to the bone. Goddamn. You're gonna need to watch this video to learn how to make these. You're gonna need to watch this. Now let's try it with our rambutan sauce. Once again, look at that, right off the bone. No work in chewing this. Oh, that's messy. A little sweetness, a little sour. Mixed with the flavors. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, wow. I can't believe this came out so good. I really can't. Watch the video. Or if this is at the end of the video, thank you for watching the video. These are absolutely amazing. Follow my instructions to get really, really good, tender, pull apart ribs. Oh, man.